Hello, good evening, and welcome. It is I, David, aka Indy. Thank you very much. Beep beep. On the Saturday, 22nd of the 2nd, 2020. 1511, 1311, three ones, three and three ones there. Yeah, yes, I like that. I am here today to talk about fostering, adoption, residency, care orders, a follow-up from the care orders, fostering and adoption video update that I've given you the other week, and then over Christmas we covered a little bit. So we've got a scriber on for you to interact with, and I'll get the chat room up in a minute so I can see what go on. We call him Eric. And would you like to say hello to the scribes, Eric, and introduce yourself? Give us a little bit of a background update, what's gone on so far, and why you're here. Thank you, bro.
Good afternoon, everybody. David, Governor. Name's Eric. I'm a scribe on this channel and on SPL's Pro. But it's just picking up on what David's been talking about adoption and fostering. I've had experience in adoption. My youngest child, we adopted him 20 years ago, so things might have changed a bit. I'm not sure how it stands now. I'll give you a short brief explanation as to what happened. Myself and my partner couldn't have children at the time, and we were debating different things, and it just happened to pass that we were asked by a family member and social services whether we'd be willing to take on a young baby under a residency order to stop him being taken out of the family. So after some deliberation and some talking, we decided, yeah, we'll do that. So we had to jump through a few hoops initially and sign some paperwork and be seen by social services. DBS checks done and all that business. Then we eventually ended up with the young boy at our house when we lived down southwards. After about 2 years and much grief from his birth family, we asked the question about whether or not we could adopt him. Had many discussions with social services and other members of the family, extended family, and decided we'd like to do it, so we took it forward. We were given a social worker to talk to and to have to explain to us what the process was. Our son-to-be had a lawyer in place through social services, so we had to deal with the legal side as well. Once the process started, we had to go through medicals to make sure that we were fit and healthy and able to look after him. Like I said, DBS checks were done to make sure we had clean backgrounds, shall we say.
Yeah.
And then the lengthy process started with court cases, and we had to travel up and down the country to see different people, foster carers who'd had the little boy before us. And it was a case of up and down for 18 months, 2 years. A lot of reports done. We had to interview our own children that we had at the time. They had to make little statements as to if they'd be happy for us to take him on board, and would they be happy and welcome him to the family. It was a long, arduous battle, to be fair, because we obviously knew his parents. They obviously knew who we were and where the baby was going to be, and it was grief for a lot of time, a lot of heartache. But after that 2-year period, we got the final hearing, went to the court, as he said in later years, into the Stuart Little house to get his new name. Went before the judge, went back into the judge's chambers where she signed the order and wrote out his new birth certificate, and the process was done. The reason I thought it was hard and why it at times still is because it was done in the family, within the family. And when that happens, there's always that chance that contact can be made and things can be said and done and all this business. Yeah. It's hard, but it's very rewarding, put it that way. Over to you, David.
All right, just bear with me. I'm listening to you and updating the chat room, just saying hello to the scribes and letting them know that there was. We arranged this quite last minute, didn't we? So normally I like to give them a heads up, but just saying, yeah, what, hello to Jerry, P9, Kev, the living legend, and I think that's all I can see. Let me get it on live chat. I'll relay. If you can't see the room, Eric, I'll relay.
I'm just going to try and get it up now.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's good. We've got 12 in the room watching. So, it is very rewarding. Some of the areas that I see on my travels and so forth. Some parents are mums and dads. We're speaking at ease. Pair that rents, that in itself. We're going to get into fostering and adoption and the grammatical definitions and rights and properties and titles and surrogacy and care orders later. But mums and dads often in this day and age, they don't feel the blessing of the let's say that you've just lost your job and a young one, your son or daughter's just arrived, and in austerity you start to worry and panic, and you have to look at rents and taxes and incomes, expenditures, and it's not fair that to bring those that bring up life, that have the blessing is what it is. After all we've covered up to this point, where we stand on that. Young stars are a blessing, and we're not blessed. We don't feel blessed because of the stress. There is too much stress and no bless. There's too much month left at the end of the money, and I see that these families are not very happy and secure. We should have a system in this civilization and technological abundance of ours, of a way that you get a universal basic income regardless, and then you jump through hoops and sign stuff and do whatever, transfer, discharge, approve after. But we have to conform to the statutory obligations before. And we are obligated. You have I remember Stephen of the McRae clan saying, yes, but you've got the common law of obligations to consider. And to some extent he was right, but they aren't ours to consider. And I see the stress and the noblesse. Go on, Eric, was you going to say something?
Yeah, just saying that before this adoption act law legislation came in, I think I mentioned it to you earlier, David, there was no legal right, no legal recourse for the adopted parents. They had no protection. And it was, I think it was 1926, and they brought legislation in to help protect the rights of the adopted parents. Because at any time at all before that, if somebody took on a child, whether it be from the family or from the village they were living in, town, whatever, they could come back at any time and take that child away from you, and there's nothing that you could do. It was, I would imagine, it was quite hurtful in some parts. When you've put your life on hold to bring up another person's child. Well, that sounds wrong, but
yeah.
And then that person comes back and takes that child away from you after all the work you've done.
Well, it's also to secure the future and the emotions and the I don't know, the son, the daughter, the fostered or adopted one, the one that's vulnerable at the time, that is then transferred over from. I'm mixed on this. Not mixed, but we've got a mixed issue here, because man can manage family and assign and entitle fellow blood relative and authorize and instruct, require. We can set a trust, to be fair, and when we do this in law as man privately with our unalienable God-given, creator-given rights, then we would then inform said administrators of the new titles, positions, bear with me, relationships, they are that in legal, but obviously they would go from relationships to protected private trust statuses, which are governed under England and Wales, and that's fine. Or you could go one further and you could create an ecclesia type trust, or a private one that isn't. It's in Britain, and you can have you can choose where you are, what you are. That's up to you, and to do with your sovereignty and your capability, your dexterity of self. And if man has will, man has property. Man's property, is man's rights are man's property. And if man's rights are in any way ignored and offended, attacked, ignored, is the best one. An injury, damages, and we say the common law assault is then ensued in any way, harm, injury, loss, breach of trust, etc. Then these rights are your property, and property is how we get into that. So when you have the real property in IRL, Indigo Romeo Lima, in real life, we have property, not just in the. I need to separate the hypothetical rights now, which are in real life your rights, your will, and unalienable. You've got the property of the blood, sired. The government didn't have any hand in that. We've covered, with the exposure of Crow and Curtis and the zygote and the conception and the spark. There's divinity. There's no effort, input, anything from any office. It's all mum, dad, and the laws of the realm. So when we come to manage that, we manage that as is, privately, as it was created. And then if we choose to administer, go legal, we talked about the rights and the titles. So adoption and fostering, we're not criticizing anybody. We're just revealing the new technologies, the new status, standing and capacities, the new consciousness development, the trust technology, the resetting of the trust. So you made a comment earlier where you said it's easier from your point of view and experience, that is firsthand, not just surmised from reports and videos, that it would be quicker and easier, less stress to adopt or foster or take in from an external foreign, non-family. And then you compared that to family, saying it takes longer when and you are linked with the family, and you're doing it with the state and with the deed poll, if necessary, and all of this legal office, official office, government administration calling the shots and telling you what to do. So could you just explain how you felt, or you came to that conclusion, Eric?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the reasons behind it was the baby's mother had an addiction problem, big style addiction problem. The partner, the father, he was the same, but he had a violent background. They were both on a downward path, shall we say. I mean, we've known his mother since she was a baby, obviously.
Was there any post-traumatic stress involved for this down spiral, or was it just as it was, circumstances of life?
Circumstances, family life. It was a bit bizarre, shall we say that way.
All right, yeah, thank you, sorry.
It's a bit strange, the family setup. But there was a total lack of interest. She'd already previously had a daughter, and that daughter is now with her father. Totally out of the picture, gone. She's disappeared. We might hear from her once a year if we're lucky. And then our son, he was born, and she was in a really bad place. I mean, I don't decry the girl for what have you, but when you're going to put yourself in a position of bringing another life into the world, then you should be capable of doing so, and not hope that somebody else is going to step in and help you out. I mean, it's nice that people do that, but we got after we'd done the residency and the adoption, we were getting grief. We got grief for years, and we were the other end of the country. And then when my queen decided she wanted to come back to where she was from because she missed all her family, and we moved back up here, it continued. It was never ending. So that link between the adopted person, baby, whatever, and their family, if it's within family, it's never broken. Whereas if you're adopting from outside family and it's somebody you've got no idea where the child's come from, it's less of an aggravation.
Yeah.
Because it can have adverse effects. It's had adverse effects on Tony, on our adopted son. He's suffered, and he's still suffering now, because he knows where he came from, and he knows that his birth mother gave him up for what he considers no valid reason, because she went on to have another daughter who she kept, and that plays heavily on his mind. Why was I give up? And he has got I was speaking to David earlier. He's got an inward distrust of women in general. So it has had an effect on him.
Yeah, I said it's comparable to trauma, fractured psyche of the kind of love and hate dialect. And then we've seen from, and I mentioned some of the older generation that I've taken from and brought to you to consider, all of you, were Alan Watts, Napoleon Hill, Greg Braden, and others that you've brought to me, Sadhguru, and even that Magenta Pixie to some extent. And yeah, it's the psyche in the mind, and mindfulness is what I've been helping others and you and myself let you know where I'm doing my mental development. Instead of feeling sad, like I know that's a made up name, so we'll stick to, I think you said Toby, did you?
Yeah.
So anyone will need to manage, because we have programs, and the brain, very simple, but we've been programmed, and we have these agendas and programs we've been taught. We learn it from the TV, from media, from our friends, from our environment. So because we don't mix in this environment of mentalization, none of us, including myself, up until recent, have been able to successfully do it 100% of the time. And it's getting to that point where we would say to those in the fractured psyche, post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, all of that, dissonance, not just cognitive, but now we've got a vibratory resonant dissonance, and we have mantras that we go for hourly and then to daily. Kev's got some input on this. I know, he's not always been solid, and he's working his way through anxiety, and he's given you admissions of, my background's been a bit turbulent over the 25 years up to now, from 15, so or 27, is it? Wow. TikTok. So we have to respect that we don't know, but we do know we have got it. We've got it within us. We've got the capability, and we'd like to work this. I did mention that the trust would help with anyone that has the time, love, and energy, and can give to these beneficiaries, but there would be discretionary beneficiaries, because we can't help everybody straight away, and we can only give time, love, and the information, mentoring these practices too, for mentalization of how we feel. So to some extent, we have to admit that we have to go to the lowest point we can and break and face ourselves. Plato, know thyself, and I said that we have to get in there, and we have to maybe not break them to be evil, but go through the course of the emotiveness, and then when you get to the end, it causes a torrent of emotions, a bit like an ayahuasca cleanse, where you start, beforehand you start being sick and purging. So we need to not be that callous. We're not doing any ayahuasca treatments, but what I'm saying is we would mentally, alchemically purge you, emotionally purge you, take you from the hate end of the dialect. We're not taking you all the way to the love end. We want you to come to the middle and balance, but that's going to be initially very hard, foreign, involve a lot of techniques rolled into one, and then mentally take you through, which unfortunately most time ends up in tears, emotiveness, anger, vexation, the stages of, and then once that mental path has been done, it does need a little bit of starting and nurturing, and we get there, then we put into place after that measurements for self measurements, mantras, and techniques, and we would then ask the trust to use these ambassadors and protectors, agents, emissaries, whatever we choose when we get there, and you would then have an assigned beneficiary to you as the trustee, and you'd manage that in ways of We've got a few ideas here that we're building up. So mentalising and looking out for yourself and others, and that's how I say, we say that we will help ourselves, we will fix ourselves. No foreign policy, no foreign language, no foreign corporation, and love, time, energy, information, no advice, no medical stuff is going down either. It's like the GAN. So we have to recognise we got to reprogram and get on a program, maybe something like an alpha course, if you want, for want of a better word. And we have to use these. And if you've been broken and you've been suicidal and you've been at the bottom, then you are overqualified for what we are calling for. So where you've thought, and if you're there now and you need help getting out, then you can help get on with us. And through the forums, a lot we we got interruptions. We will do it in the private, and we will work with you. I can't do it all, you can't do it all, Eric. So it's work in progress, and it's a hands up moment for all to say, you don't have to release everything, of your sensitive nature now to me on this channel, on this chat, but through the avenues and through the course of the year, we'd like to build on this. And the vulnerable ones under care orders haven't got the luxury of family to bail them out. They are isolated, they are alone, they are lost, they are vulnerable, and they are not monitored, they are not regulated, they are just within the government itself, and there is no government. So where are they? As we get further down this exploratory, as we have done, we can show you that there is no actual physical side of this that we can locate. It's all under the offices of, isn't it? So we would like to step in and look at the vulnerabilities, the care orders, the residencies, and ones that have got any valid positive. I'll go for first. We'd like positive reports and information, not reports, but positive feedback, praise and grumble. We do it that way, and I'd like to see. I know it's not all good, it's quite horrendous, which is why we're here having this chat. So I yield, Eric.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to a couple, Jerry and Kevin and a few others on it. I can't reply via the page, guys, because I'm on a different platform. I can't sign into it to type any comments. But thanks for your comments, lovely. I've got a bizarre one for you. This is to deal with my own family, my side of the family, if you want. Going back a few years now, I used to work in a pub close to me. I was the manager there. I used to get quite a few people coming in. And anyway, by this one night, this young lady, shall we say, came up to her and says, "All right, cuz." I'm looking at her thinking, what? I says, "What do you mean?" She says, "You're my cousin." Well, I thought, oh, bizarre. I says, "Now you've lost me with haircut," and I ignored it, didn't think I was on it. Well, my, in quotation marks, my proper cousin asked me a couple of days later if somebody had come up to me and said this thing. I says, "Yeah, why? Do you know it?" She says, "Yeah, apparently, back in the day, our grandfather disappeared to Ireland and came back with a bride after apparently getting somebody around here pregnant. So, like the good man that he was, he disappeared
Oh wow!
to Ireland and then apparently came back with a bride and a daughter in tow. Well, this daughter apparently, no, we don't know how true this is because my father and his brother won't talk about it for obvious reasons, I would imagine. But apparently, the daughter is my father's mother. So, as we were saying earlier about family members taking in another member of the family, this is something that's happened apparently. But we can't get to the bottom of it because my dad won't mention it. His brother now just brushes it off. In fact, they lose a temper over it, which makes me think, there might be some truth in it.
Yeah.
But it happens all over. Especially back then, the amount of children that were taken in by aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters It's unbelievable.
Well, just let me pin everything. The war, when we had the trains and the sending off of the, do you know what I mean? And now when I've been speaking to Sister Special K, Button Moon, Sun and Moon, and she was touching upon, she gave me this angle, and I went, oh, do you know what? That's a good point, that actually. Not a good point, but an interesting high velocity management of little ones. And it's just, we need to check in now and again. I suppose we could do with an institution, not, I'm not saying we should do it, but you can help set one up. Not you, we, the scribes, others, man can help set one up. A land-based British institution of psychological welfare and social support, independent support that we offer with ourselves, from ourselves. And we can, like I said earlier, with the letters and emails that they send you saying, hello, you haven't contacted us, we haven't had any payment, do you need any help, are you okay, and things like that. Well, like I say, with these lot dragging and messing up and trusts coming out and apologising, we should be saying, look, we are saying, not that this is what we are saying, they need help, the officers, the principals, the trustees, the executives. You can see now the state of the Secretary of State and the Home Office, and the bad fits, and the military has got some generals and majors and secretaries to realign, I do believe, and there's claims that some offices are heavily racist. I'm like, wow, this is coming out on national press, so they do need help, and we do need to let them know that we are here as the authority, and we may need to take that back and let them not ask for permission, not submit, but to politely no longer wish to engage with. And the ones that are being made to engage with, and that are in these troublesome spots now, we can privately manage, because it seems that there's a long waiting list, and once you get on it, then that's not always a guarantee. They're not at the cutting edge of sciences. We don't get the cutting edge. You have to pay a lot of money for that and go private. But we'll bring that open source for free, like the GANs and not the silver, but the silver isn't on the markets as such. Silver water, colloidal. The GANs isn't on the market as such. The trust and equity wasn't on the market as such. So we'll continue to do what we do as a fan. And we need, like I say, I'd like to empty Buckingham Palace, to be fair. I don't think that's unreasonable. I'm not trying to cause political controversy, but let's open up somewhere and show and use it as a beacon, as a bastion of what we can do as a caring, loving family. And I think Queen Elizabeth there, Elizabeth, Batten, whichever one you want to address, the lady I'm on about, not the title, but Elizabeth. And that family, they don't need all that big house, and they're all absconding and nearly at the end of. So getting your castles, open up a notice of equitable interest we could put on, because we are the landlords, and we could, I'm having a laugh here, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? I yield.
But should I mention that what I spoke to you a while ago about with my adopted son's little dalliance with the social services when his firstborn was here?
Yeah, if you redact the the sensitive datas and whatnot, whatever you're willing to give, and give the scribes and viewers information.
Just a little bit of knowledge as regards the birthing certificate.
Oh wow, go on.
Right, the partner that Toby has, she was on a care order of sorts with social services. And when they got together, she was living in an apartment that the council had provided for her and what have you, under the guise of social services. She had her own social worker. And when she got pregnant, they were immediately in. They were in like Flint. They wanted control over everything. So kept her under their watchful eye for the 9-month period. And then when his son was born, they were there very quickly. They wanted to remove the child from the care of his mother and father. Well, having been digging about in this realm for a few years, just clicked, and I says, you can't do nothing at the moment, can you? Why can't we? We can do it if we have to. I says, not without the birth certificate. And the guy looked at me and says, you know then? I says, yes, I know. I've read and educated myself. His face was a picture. Within 3 months of that, she was signed off from the care of the social services and the full responsibility was given back to them. That was my victory.
Oh, wow. You know then, dear, his face was a picture, 1,000 words, was it?
Oh, yes. Very much 1,000 words. So it goes to show, if you've got to fight them with fire, fight them with their fire.
And we are fighting them with fire, but what we're going to do is put on and adorn the armour of God now. So yes, we do know about the certificate, which is an insurance policy, the spacesuit, the entity, the business, doing business as Mr. John Smith, all capital. There you go. You know, we have given deceptively, and that's what we utilise. Yes, we utilise the instrumentation, and yes. There is a lot in the mix here of potential resetting of the implied, constructed, indentured, and etc. All of the ambiguity and the plausible deniability will fall by the wayside if you serve officers notices, and we record them and make sure they're done, you know, in line with, and we use these clocks and stuff against them. We don't have to recognise the filing system and the language of the state. You know, you can stipulate before you write a notice that the language used is, and you know, not such of, and then I'm not going to give it you all, but it's there, and private and confidential, authority, and once you know, you see, who you are and the government setup and the offices and how they seem to work, and the private side of it, and the registration of the business. And you know, we've covered this extensively over the years, and others have agreed, and we've proven it, and there's been other YouTube channels, and it's old school news. So we recognise that everything is a business, but blood and family is not a business. And the Pope and all these crowns and the Franciscan friars and the I'm not going to go through them all now like Santos does, but yeah, we have had a look, and it does seem that there's a way of resetting. And if you know, it doesn't matter. We talked about baptism, and if you've been baptized or christened and so forth, and if there's any advantages of having the one of the religions or cloths to help us there. And I suppose it would, when you are talking about souls and blood and family and honourability, due diligence, not just in a court-based scenario, but if anybody's ever questioning your morality, your ethics, your intent, your, you know, and etc., if you're conscionable, then you can almost put that straight to rest when you know whom you are, and you're a man of you don't have to say a particular religion, you can say just of
man of Christ.
There you go. Yeah. And we have found it interesting, the positions of the Saviour, Lord, Messiah, Jesus and Christ, and the Vicar of Christ, and coming with Jesus and as a Christ-like consciousness. Then this is the perplexity of the work that we've, you know, and the discoveries, and then the hangouts, and for you to then come back to us. We've got a new line, not so much new because it's thousands of years old, but we've got a new encoding coming out. So the history and the lineages is all about land, money and acquisitions, and at no point in history has there been much love and harmony. It's business and war and invasions and property and land and titles, and it's not for us to be in that realm. So we are glad to be able, finally, successfully, without the use of Constitution, Magna Carta or Freeman, to put you in a position with your words, verbiage, language, position, status, standing, capacity, all these new areas that we've found, and thumbprint, you know, postmasters, etc. I know there's a lot of work going off with the you know, the mortgages, and I first met Judge Julian Fernandez, who's you know, doing some work with the TGB MS, is it? If I remember, sorry, my dyslexia's got the best of me there. The Great British Mortgage Swindle, and on Low Lotus's channel. And yeah, I met him when he come to our group and thanked us for introducing him to trust and equity, and for some situation he was having with a club down south. So we've had repeatedly, you know, good results with this, and it doesn't involve submittance. It doesn't involve you to claim any legal. It's going out of the legal, the public, and into the private, and doing your business, your family business. This is the one area of the business that we really need to brush up upon and give all the head start with. So ultimately, I would not want to ever myself go through the legal channels for adoption, fostering, surrogacy, etc. I would do that, and we can do that ourselves, given the authority and divinity that we call upon. That's given to us through the language, the self-knowing, and the instruments and the positions and the grammar. And it is a fine line. It's many have tried, and it's been thousands and hundreds of years since the proclamations and whatnot. So now we can honorably, and just at the time when Babylon's crumbling, because if we didn't have this, I would be a lot more, wow, bad grammar, I would be considerably anxious and fearful and probably angry. And I'm glad that we can kind of offer a shoulder and a safety area initially, a cool off area for fam, and we can look to develop further as a fam, trust agents and protectors and reset. This is the beauty. The power is in your hands. Over to you, Eric.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, if anybody has any questions or anything like that they don't feel happy about putting on here, they can always email me.
Where's that? Are you want to give it out or type it, or yeah?
Bear with me 2 minutes. I've just got somebody knocking on the door. Oh.
Someone knocking at your door. Someone's knocking at your door. Sorry, programming. You said it. The people.
I'm just at the shopping delivered.
All right. Yes. What was you saying? Where was you? Continue, please.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if anybody wants to ask any questions and not happy to be seen doing it on the chat back on here, then by all means, I'm happy to answer any questions on the .com via the email thing.
Well, I shall check the .com, scribes. We've got an issue. Okay, we have an issue with SPLspro.com. I do believe I know what it is. Do not panic, everybody. It's to do with the bank. Yesterday, whilst out on my duties, I get a text message. Security. What? Yeah, I've had to increase a lot of security for obvious reasons. And it said, this transaction has been temporarily blocked by the bank because it's not expected or recognised, which is true. And so the renewal for one of the programs that we pay for, the software apps, is been declined. And I sorted it all out yesterday morning after dinner time-ish, early dinner time, and they told me that the payment would go through. So there's a payment for a bit of software that's key and integral, and we can't operate. So just bear with. I will get onto G-Star. That's what he's there for, and we will give this particular company a nudge, an email, and get that payment, or it should have gone through. But when you have these security things and the bank steps in, it's wonderful when it does save you money. But when it's genuine and it's all good, and you got stuff like this going off, I did say to G-Star yesterday, we'll monitor it. So it looks like today there's an issue, not a big one, caused by security and banking. Merchant traders, the money changers, all right, so bear with me. I will make sure that it's alleviated and repaired ASAP, unless G-Star's listening somewhere and can get on it. If not, I'll do that after this chat. All right, thank you, Al. There's always jobs to be doing.
I've just seen that post by Lisa there. We've been conditioned to acquiesce to perceived authorities. Something we were talking about earlier, David.
Let me see. All right, Albert, you can send me technical advice, but I'm all right. I will be good. I know where it is and what I'm doing and what go on. But thank you, brother. He's a little legend. I know what you're on about. What's this with Lisa? Where are we?
That we've been conditioned to acquiesce to perceived authorities. What we were saying earlier, when we were talking earlier. But people have forgotten that they held the power.
Yes, it's like, wow, good Lord, my goodness. So do you all know what a mountain lion is? That when you've watched Thundercats, or I know this is a bad analogy, but when they make that wow, they make like a roar noise that's truly unique. Mountain lions of America and out that way, and I cannot do it. I did it very badly, but they're very cute. They're like massive pussycats, and it's like this. I watched Lifting the Lid. Scribes, I love the way that man presents compared to this muted screen and the limited eye candy that you've got. Shout and love going to Lifting the Lid channel. I went and had a look for the first time as he was on here, and I knew he's a new scribe, newish, and I've only just noticed him, and I went to have a look. Brilliant setup. And on one of his videos, recent ones, he's got a clip of a mountain lion, and this bloke's telling you, I think it was this, you know what it's like when you go on a YouTube rant. I started on Lifting the Lid, and I believe it's there somewhere, and this guy's telling you in the wild, the lion is about 15% susceptible to get attacked, and if a mountain lion gets a lacerated neck from another encounter, there's no emergency services or stitching to be done. And so genetically, the mountain lion is very cunning and very astute at how it gets its prey. And what you do is you turn around and you face it and you stare it out, and it will go away. But obviously this channel and this scribe that Lifting the Lid is edited into the video to put a point across, is saying, you know, it's not every day that you come across these, and you need to mentally prepare and build yourself up. And there's a bloke with a camera, and he's in some long grass. Well, he's looking at long grass. He's got out the long grass, and the mountain lion is in the long grass, and it's stalking him, and he knows it's there, and he's recording. And wow, yeah, it just made me think of like rabbit in the headlights. It doesn't matter. We can put this across to anywhere, as you've just said. So let me continue. It's got a nice ending. He's recording it, and he's going round. He gets an angle and he sees it, but it's watching him through the long grass. And if you've got a bad vibration, or you're on a lot of stress or alcohol, smoking too much, smoking other things too much, then you're effectively looking at a lion in long grass, and you're walking in long grass. And if you're in long grass, you cannot see if there's a predator. These are not my words, but well said to this man. You cannot see the predator in front of you, but when you sharpen your mind and you know yourself, and you get a bit dexterous with your, as we are now, and learning and trying, and then the grass gets shorter and your vision becomes clear. You can see oncoming attacks and predators. This man at this point is now been about 2 minutes, and the lion is moving, and he's going towards him. It's advancing, and he wavers just a brief minute, and he turns and he legs it. He runs, and you see the ground and whatever. It's all obvious, and then he stops after about 10 seconds maximum, and he turns around, and the mountain lion is at his right, like 2-3 meters away. If he'd have carried on running, he'd have jumped on his back, it'd have lacerated his legs, and that, it'd have had him. And they are killing machines, as you know. They are lions of the mountain. This man turns around, it's three meters now, and it's sat, and it's looking at him, and he's like, right, I'm bigger than you. And he's psyching it out. And obviously the video's got on tube, so he's not going to die, but it's very, very intense. And this man is there saying, and the lion stops, and it turns around and it clears off, because there's a doubt. And what he says is, the other man who's showing, it's very weird, because Lifting the Lid's showing a video, and on that video there's this video, and in this video there's a man showing this video, and now I'm talking about it, so I've kind of gone Inception on you. It doesn't matter, but I'll just explain how it was given, because the man who was presenting the video of the man and the lion says, he's the expert, he lives in America, and he says, this is like anything in life where you get challenged, and you must build your fear. You must mentally project, and this will kill you. There is a danger. He says, but there's only one way out, because this mountain lion, it doesn't like to see animals with no fear. It says its brain is programmed. When it sees something running, it will go, because it's running. It knows it's scared. But when it comes up against an entity, a man generally, that turns around and stares out a mountain lion successfully, the lion's brain goes, hang on a minute, this is showing no fear. That means that there's a problem. I might get an injury. This is its genetics, not its actual thought system. There might be a chance that I die, so I've got to stop now and see what this strange bigger man is going to do. So situations within life where we just think of that there and put yourself in, and there's people out there that stare out mountain lions. I yield.
Not that. Wouldn't be something I want to do.
We do it every
And
day.
like I say, we're giving back. We need to remember that we're the power. We hold the power, not them. We put them into their places of power, and we can take the buggers out of them. It's getting that across, getting people to remember that. It just seems impossible at the minute.
Yeah, it's language, it's tools, it's instruments. Yeah, it's knowing. And when they, you see, because like videos that you've seen on tube where mans with knowledge have gone to corporations and said, but the corporation will not have it. The agent will not proceed. They deny TV licensing or certain things where we've written to offices and they do nothing. ICO, we've had to get, and using rules against data breaches and certain things, and GDPR, and the Ministry of Justice having media surrounding the failings of, and that's the Ministry of Justice. So we have seen that there are certain areas where you have to enforce, so you become, because the claim isn't on you, like there's no civil claim for finances like we have with the litigation and the liability. What you're doing is, what we're trying to say is, there's two ways of doing it: the legal application through the United Kingdom, and then there's man doing it, and then the instruments. And we have a newer way, an enhanced, revised, transformed way, and it involves everything that you've seen us talk about over the last few years. So when we do it that way, as you've seen, things turn around a lot quicker, and we've lost the language, the skills, letter writing, punctuation, grammar, debased. And we've had an arbitrarily injected narrative into our society, and that comes in the form of religion, money, indoctrination, and what Lisa said above, and what you're saying rings true. But if you put this to the test, and if everybody did this, then things would change remarkably fast.
I've just noticed something else. She's probably, I'm thinking she's hacking my phone, Lisa. Nature versus nurture.
and that will bring me into, wait there please, well said, nicely done. You have fostering, and that can be done as FOS and then space TER, and it can also be FO and STAR, faux star, young star, and FOS, and then T, and then an upside down back to front. It looks like an E, but upside down and back to front, foster. And I had to say that. But to bring up, nurture, bear, and foster offspring, see synonyms at nurture. Number 2, to promote the growth and development of, cultivate, detect and foster artistic talent, to nurse or to cherish. You could foster a secret hope, it says. That was and then we've got an adjective: providing parental care and nurture to children not related through legal or blood ties, foster parents, foster grandparents, a foster home. Number 2, receiving parental care and nurture from those not related to one through legal blood ties, foster children. Middle English, fostren, FOSTREN, from Older English, fostrain, TRIAN, so fostrian, not train, FOSTRIAN, fostrian. Sorry, brain said train, but it's not. To nourish, from fostor, FOSTOR, grantor, mortgagor, creditor, fostor, food, nourishing, and there's a few more. I'm on the freedictionary.com for those that want to go deeper and get more, dictionary, Collins, Spanish, legal, there's millions to go through. So that was just the freedictionary.com. And then I've got adoption, the description from the same website, just to correlate to while it's fresh. Also found in Thesaurus, Medical, Legal, Financial, Idioms, Encyclopedia and Wikipedia, related to adoption, open adoption and adoption process. And it's got here A space dopt, and it says number 1, to take on the legal responsibilities as parent of a child that is not one's biological child. Number 2, to become the owner or caretaker of a pet, especially one from a shelter. Number 3, that's fair enough. Yeah, we have the charities with the animals as well in trouble. 3A, to take and follow a course of action, for example, by choice or assent, adopt a new technique. And then 3B, to take up and make one's own, adopt a new idea. Number 4, to move or resettle in a place. 5, there's only 7, to take on or assume, adopted an air of importance. 6, to vote, to accept, adopt a resolution. And 7, to choose as standard or required in a course, adopt a new line of English textbook. We've got some Middle English, adopt 10, that looks German, but yeah, adopt 10. From Old French, adopter. From Latin, adoptare, adopter. And then we've got lots of breaking down there again, and your thesaurus. So, Eric, have you got anything you want to say on that?
Just some bizarre thing I thought of. It was like removing an asset from one trust into another trust, and then rebranding that asset with a new name.
Yeah, it's the estate would be moved over the certificate, so you are the holder in due curse. Well, yeah, fine, it is a curse, of course, of the certificate. The man is, you're civilly inactive while you're under the legal age. So whilst you're under that, because you remember that's the crux there, yeah, civilly inactive, protected under law in the trust, albeit this CQV an age of 7 and whatnot, and the implied, you've got to recognise that there's a certificate, and all they're doing, it's like a marriage, I suppose, but not like a marriage. But when the Mrs. Jane Doe marries Mr. John Smith, she drops the dough. She doesn't drop it, but the church administers. You sign the book, and then that dough she might carry it on if you're in the aristocracy, the hoi polloi. They have triple and quadruple barrel names, and you see why, because they take the money with them, the estate. So we don't do that. What you could do is keep both, imagine that, and then you'd enter with so that's where I just want to say, but the trust is being administered much like the marriage. Mr. and Mrs. He's not a Mr. The daughters or the princes and the princesses of peace are not Mr. and Mrs. yet. The masters, aren't they? Stars in the trust, civilly inactive, protected under law. And we are now looking into these deeper areas. So good point, valid, and very crucial. Yes, I.
I'm afraid that's my brain dried up now, matey.
Desaturation. He's got to his saturation point. We've saturated.
I'm just laughing at some of the stuff on the on the comments, talking about Mr. Fellas, Lady Men,
Mr. Men, Roger Hargreaves. It was all he's doing.
Debbie Harry, I'm not having Debbie Harry, surely.
Enjoy, get through. I'll go back to the room. I'm just fostering out some ideas myself here. There is a lot of legal areas you can have a look at. There's not many doing and proposing to do what we do. This is somewhat of a I don't know, a niche area for private. None of this would ever be done public. Family law always remains private. You need to keep the sensitive data, the private data, just that. Those minors that are civilly inactive minors, I'm speaking at ease, our offspring, young stars, they need to be protected more than ever, as you can see in this day and age. So we'd like to, if you're at your saturation point, we'll go back to the room and then just close it down and keep it small and effective for now, until we could go off again. That this has got potential. Kevin and I will reflect and have a look at what we can be doing, incorporating that.com that you can't access at the minute. And don't worry, it will be resolved. And we will dedicate forums and look at not recruitment and not onboarding, but a collective of consciousnesses that have got, scars, post-traumatic distress, things that you could offer. We're looking at respite, sovereign parks, or private parks, whatever. Anybody that could look to recommend where there's a lot of area of land, much like Buckingham Palace, that'd be lovely. A big old barn, a disused castle. I don't know what we could do for the initial part, but you'd need Scotland looking after, you need all of Ireland, the Republic and Northern looking after. We've got Wales, we've got Northern England, Middle England, Southern England. So 3, 4, that's 5 major points of, and then they need to splinter off into trusts, or shell trusts in a citywide nation landmass of Britain. Let's keep away from UK. Let's not maybe so much involve the trust of England and Wales. Let's consider private sentient covenants, and back to some of the old ways, if you like, with the old technologies that there are things that I'm hearing at the minute that just from Anne Marie, and she's like looking at mortgaging house and acquisition of property within England after being an economic migrant and whatnot from Hungary. And she's heard from one of the colleagues at work that this Asian, I think he actually is Pakistani, isn't able to get a mortgage because, one, he wasn't born here, and two, that's not being racist, hear me out, he wasn't born here, and so he hasn't got the birth certificate of which we are the holder in due course of, and he hasn't got a person set up like we have, so he's been rejected to go in because he hasn't got what they can't be bonded essentially. So
we can't dip into his money.
Magic. It's not magic for him. He's got, this is why we hear of the Sharia and the different types of, and the Jewish, Judaism, we'll say not Jewish, Judaism, and the old school ways and the calendars, and what we're finding out here is truly unique, because they don't get recognised by the Roman system that's in place now, to put it, like that. So we've got ideas, and we've got history, lineages, practices, evidences, and we'd like to just to have a look there. And what you've done, you need a well done and a congratulations. I'll do a virtual room clap for you now. I've seen some of the comments saying, it takes a big man to take on extra responsibilities and duties amongst his own fam, and outgoings and commitment. So it really does. It's a credit to all of you, not just you. There's a whole family there, and your lady, your queen. And then I know others that have done stuff like this, and in the Mediterranean and Greece and so forth, there's a lot of this fostering adoption and estate management, and executors managing this within, not using their, you imagine the Greeks and Italians. I'm not saying anything bad. I've got the blood of. I'm just saying that they do it a lot privately. And not so much running to cap in hand. Trustees on a street, in a community, and having you check with the trustee first, one of our trustees, a street trustee, but is linked with us, with our trust in some way, and then they can be the one you go to. You can pose questions and ask for information, and they can say, actually, we need to do this, do that, and then go and contact the Met rank and file, private corpses, and say yes, and do it with the protection of, with the full knowledge, with the disclosure, because when you're not getting the disclosure, and this is where the trouble begins, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it. That's it. When you don't know the full story, it can cause a lot of problems. There's that old saying about it takes so and so to bring a child into the world, but a village to raise it. I think that's probably how they used to do it back in the day. The village raised the child. Even when I was younger, at least me, when I was younger, you couldn't do anything wrong in the village, because by the time you got home, somebody had already been to your house and told your parents.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it.
Village full of guardians.
It's sad we don't have. I want to say that we don't have a system in our civilization where mums, and we do. It's called family support and social security and the DSS and how. But that's all still with agents and agencies, and still wrong. It's high time that we get these apps sorted out, and this .gov.uk and the AI and the quantum and whatever we need, and we put a thumbprint on and we authorize it weekly ourselves. We control the credit. We take back, not straight away, because there's a lot of confusion and still things to be done. But like I say, do you need any help, UK government? It looks like, like what you say to us, we might be able to help you here before we start and litigate you for murder. We'll ask you, do you need any help? Do you need to, do you want some sovereigns in an office there alongside, just to, well, we're not arrogant enough to say that we know everything, but we could do a better job than what's being done at the moment. You scribes there without me, I don't want to be a leader of any kind. I don't want to be in an office with a, desk, look at me, I've made it. No. Someone else can go there. If you want to get up, got to put your name down now, you can be that man or woman, but it looks like the need for help is required, and it takes a humble type approach to say we're not going to attack you. We're going to play it, the way that we've seen it and what's honourable. And then when you fail, then we'll have the grounds to authorise a move in, and on an international level as well. Not just on a United Kingdom noise level. We'll see. We'll see what the feedback is. Kevin, we'll get it back in a bit. My man Eric.
Quinn, I agree with you there, mate. It's the same here. Not as much, but it's still the same here. My youngest two couldn't get away with nothing. Especially when I had the pub, when I was managing the pub. Everybody knew me and my wife and who our children were. So whenever they got up to it, it was straight into the club. Have you heard what he's doing? Which isn't a bad thing in many ways. Helps you to keep track of them.
Yeah, indeed it does. It's not nice though, having your...
Oh, it isn't. I imagine. You know the colour of my barnet, Dave.
Yeah.
There was me and one other at school, and we used to get... if it wasn't you, it was him. So we used to get the clout knocked out of us for that, whether it was us or not.
I get
He had ginger hair.
Well, he who makes the claim is required to provide the material facts, etc. We've got a lot stronger now. Just that in itself, the conditional acceptance and the burden of proof, material facts, have put us in grand stead when man makes claim, neighbour makes claim, company makes claim. Have you got proof of that? I know you've damaged me now. You shouldn't have made that claim. And there's witnesses. Oh, right. Suddenly it's gone away now. No free man, no Magna Carta, no constitution, no, vexation or anything. Controlled, calm management using rights and language. Wow. Yes, I see a big year this year, and I'm very happy to have had you in and done this. I'm going into the .com as we speak. If you want to skim the room, Eric, and go through, I'm going to try and fix the .com log-on issue whilst we're on, so I can let them know.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will check now where we're going.
And Lisa, that post you put earlier about saying that he wasn't born, he was born from your heart. That was beautiful. We told our youngest that he wasn't born for us. He was chosen by us. We chose him because we wanted him.
Oh.
But yeah, like I said, I was talking to David earlier. He's had a few problems over the last couple of years, but he's slowly learning how to deal with it. Instead of getting angry, he tends to walk out now and cool down. But it's an hard battle for them once they find out that they've been adopted. That's where most of your trouble stems from.
It does, yeah. But we can fix that. We can work together, and we can turn that around. That's a small thing. It seems massive, but done and with the knowledge and the repetition, it will soon be overcome.
Yes, Fly, that's very true as well. But you can't downgrade one-parent families. Some of them do an excellent job. I know quite a few.
Yeah, we're not saying negative about anything. All we're saying is resident care orders is where you picked it up from. When I got John, what was his surname, his family name, John what was it? You said it earlier, Eric.
Oh, go on. Bloody hell. The Wedger guy.
That's him, yeah, that's him, yeah, and the care orders and the writing off. They're not a business acquisition. It's not damaged stock.
No, it's just wrong. It just seems like they're expendable assets when they're stuck on a care order and chucked into an home. Oh, we're not bothered what happens to them. It's wrong. I mean, my queen worked in a place where these children used to go there were residents there, and if they were lucky, they went to go home on a weekend. But when they come back, they used to tell stories. They were horrific. Absolutely horrific where they were living and having to live. Some of them wouldn't even go home. They'd get dropped off and they'd go and live on the streets until they were picked back up to come back to the residency for a week because nobody get a home.
Well, right, yeah.
And she's had to deal with some beauties down there as well. Running at them with knives and things like that. It's, you know what I mean? Sad. The system for childcare in this country truly is broken when you think about it. But it's as easy to go out and get a care order and chuck a child into a care home and forget all about it. Instead of intervening earlier and trying to help the family, it's just seen as the easy option. Care order, see you, bye.
Yeah, well, we're seeing that often too. The legal realm is the New World Order. This New World Order, as I will label it and affix it as well, is how this system is enabling to do what it does. So it's an orders, care orders. It's a New World Order. It's a New World translation. So over time and with progress,
apparently, according to Jerry, I'm Tyson Fury.
Oh, that's a good analogy, metaphor, comparison, yeah.
He says when I speak, his face pops into mind.
Into mind. I like the Yorkshire twang, it does go well. Right, pause everything.
I'd like to thank you for that, Jerry. I wish I was big as the bugger.
Nice one, G-Star. I have been to Internet Explorer. I am not logged in. I have typed in www.splspro.com. I have the login page in front of me, and it looks like I have fixed it. I'm just going to press login, and it's the moment of truth. It says, our survey says, I don't know, it's not doing anything. 1 minute. That's cooking my internet.
It's going to give you the too many redirects again.
I think I've just broken the internet. It was me. It's not. Oh,
It did it last week. It did exactly the same last week though when I tried
If somebody would like to check it, I now have the login to get started screen and no errors. Would anybody on the scribes list in the room like to just check? Albert, somebody, you are free to go in and let me know if that is remedied, the little issue there. If so, thank you, G-Star, for that training. You've trained me well, let's see. He's a legend, and Albert would have been there in the wings. But we have to be careful what tricks you give away over the public access there, Albert, because hackers and etc. They take every little bit they can. So have a look, let me know. Sorry to go off track, but I've done my job there, my duties. I'm crashing out, having a rest for a bit, and then I think later I'll come on with Kev, update the .com, and then on to Tube for a bit of a late one maybe then.
Right. I agree with you there, Fly, about teaching and teachers. We took our youngest out of school because of all the trouble and grief he was getting. Isolation, sticking around with staring at a blank wall for hours on end. Couldn't teach him anything, except how to hate authority. So we took him out and we homeschooled him. It's not as hard as people think it is.
No, it's not. It's just, it's a blessing, and it's not so much considered a blessing when you don't have access, time, money. I've gone into some of these council properties in city of Birmingham, and I had a little boy come to me because it was half term last week, wasn't it? This week, whatever, recently, half term. And I just don't really know. And he said to me, "Hey, mister," he was only about 6 or 8. He was a right cute little lad, and he says, "We got rats in here." He says, "You need to be careful, watch it." And I'm like, I can see, I found little black bits, and I can tell mice and rat dropping, and happens quite a lot where I come across these little deposits everywhere, and the standards, I'm like, would anybody, number 11, number 10, would they put up? Would the Queen, would the Palace, would the CEO from the council of such boroughs put up? I'm not making a claim. A boy told me. I didn't see one. I don't want any liability kickback from me. I was in a tenant's house last week. That's all I'm saying. And the boy came in out of concern and said, "Hey, mister, you've got rats. You need to be careful." Bless him. He didn't know me, and he come in to just check on me, bless him. I says, "All right, mate, you close the door, I'll spray and fix and make sure that all of the all of the black's gone, and if there's any holes, I'll fill them in, and I'll make sure the rats have gone. And if you just give me a wink and a smile, put his thumb up and close the door. I was like, bless, I could have cried and melted on the spot. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, the things that this little boy shouldn't have to know that there's things crawling up places because I've brought you video footage of how I am shocked of the black bag and mattress situation in some of the parts, and these things are just rife, and they hear them, they see them. They've got black toxic mold everywhere, no access to money, living out on the street. If you don't toe the line, they go out the door, they see all the black bags, mattresses and whatever in some areas, and this is not just localised to Birmingham, and they get scared. There's the fear. If you don't pay them bills, you might end up living with the rats in a 10 what? Ugh. And he's about 6 and he knows that already. Look, that's wrong. And he's got no access, waiting to be moved, trying to keep up with these old dilapidated buildings that are now quickly putting fire extinguishers in after they've been up bloody 60 years, much like the lead pipes and the lead petrol and endorsement of tobacco. They're playing catch up, the government, when we instruct and compel, or when enough of us die and there's a media hoo-ha, they go, we better fix that now, John. Yes, come on. So we'll beat them to it this time. There'll be no more deaths, and we'll fix it, in time off. I know I've drifted there, but point being, the standards are very low, and they shouldn't be. We deserve better. You all deserve better.
David, I'm going to have to leave you because the Queen's trying to get in touch. She's left me quite a tasty text message.
All right, you can get off then. And what is that to do with you and us and this?
No, I don't think so. Something else.
I'm going to say.
No, she don't know about this yet. Till I show it her later.
Yeah,
right, people.
Yeah.
Everybody, I'd like to say thank you for listening. I've enjoyed it. First time I've ever done it. So thank you. What again? No, not on a promise fly. She's working. Right, David, I'll speak soon.
Yeah, we will do, Button Moon. All right, thank you, much love, legend, and an inspiration, I hope. That's the point of this, and a bit of exposure for options. So, yeah, I'll go through the room. You get your sent off, lad. Thank you. We'll speak soon. I'm going to address the chat room and then get off as well. So, thank you, brother Eric.
Okay, cheers. Blessings all. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
All right, ciao for now. Bye-bye. Goodbye, Eric. Hello, Roo. I will recap, and then, like I say, we'll be going. There's a lot of action here. Like I say, I need to have a chat, lifting the lid. I want a chat room like that. G-Star, we've got some work to be doing. Albert, please go to, and others, but Albert, you may be able to assist with program software. Look at some of Lifting the Lid's videos and how he has the little icons, and he puts his chat room up, and he welcomes everybody in, and that's just incredible. I am in awe. I know there's technology out there, and I was watching it yesterday, going through a couple. I was on my TV, so I couldn't like or have much dexterity. I was using my TV as a vehicle to watch and his videos, and yeah, I couldn't get into the playlist side of it and that because it's operated with the remote, but I will be frequenting a few more of them, and thank you all for your comments. Kev and his camera, P9, and Kev, I like that. Everyone loves a bargain, especially when it's tech like that. I've spoke to Anders. There's more GANs on the way, so like I say, I'll let you know and see when that comes. Thank you again. Andy, 1, 2, 3, big love. We've got Quinn, I've seen Jerry, Lisa, Fly, Albert, MG. I know there's mans and ladies wanting contact. We'll do that over, tomorrow. I've had some duties today, and I'm having a rest. I need a break. I've had a harsh. I didn't get in till 8:30. Sat down and rested. It was about 7:30 when I got in, Friday PM, after full Monday to Friday effort. So I'm quite tired. I'm having today off, and we'll catch up tomorrow, everybody. Emails. I'll be on the .com in a bit. Me and Kev will be casting later. I'm going to have a feed and a rest and tell Anne-Marie I love her, and not much else. You lot are having, I'm just looking at the room, well done. Entertaining yourselves. Good chatter. Don't throw baby out with bathwater. Don't upset the apple cart, says Fly. I said hello to Lisa, yes. Vendetta, easy. Long time no see. On other things. You are in another galaxy, far, far away. Yes, I Vendetta, good to see you. Alan, yeah, I've said you. I've said hello. I think I've caught everybody. Shouted out. Yes, aye. Let's wrap it up. We'll be back later for the third cast of the Saturday. And with Brother Kev, the Living Ledge. Enjoy, fam. Stars, initiates, sovereigns, souls. Universal consciousness. Alright, ciao for now. Let's do this. Much love. See you soon.